So hey friends, welcome to this week's video. And I know, I have not been on my channel in like a month and a half, something like that. And it's just because I've been sick. So I haven't really had the voice to get you guys content, and I really haven't had the energy. All of it kind of went through making it through the workday and just shooting what I can after work before I inevitably pass out to recover. So I've been a little bit off my game, but I'm recovered now, so I figured now is a good time to recover my channel and get back to regular uploads so that you guys can interact with me. And on that note, I have been seeing your guys' comments. I really appreciate them. They are helping with the channel, especially with the shorts that I've been kind of scheduled out in front. You know, those are probably going to be drying up soon, but I do appreciate you guys interacting with those things. It's really helping me kind of stay afloat while I am, you know, sick. But now that I have a voice again, I feel like I can respond to your comments. But as I was going through those comments, I just figured videos are kind of just better at responding to that. And there were just some times where I was just like, putting this in words doesn't make sense. So I think going forward, we're probably gonna do more of these like respond to your comments videos, or I'll just shoot a short directly at you if there's not that many comments out there, so that I can properly respond to you and hopefully get you the information that you need. So let's start this off with the first comment. Okay, so the first comment is on the Koss M650. It's a portable microphone that I really liked, and it was better than the DJI mic's initial version. They did come out with an update, but the M650 still holds up, especially if you're not using a DJI camera. Like it sounds great. It has a little bit more depth than the DJI mic. But again, if you're using a DJI camera, there's just integrations with the new ones where I don't need a dongle, I don't need anything, it just works. So it depends on what you're shooting with. But if you're just shooting with like a camera or you want to use your phone, the M650 is wonderful. It's definitely something you should check out. Gadget and Life UK also just bought one. You get it on a discount. He liked it a lot. So I appreciate you checking out the video. I'm glad that you're liking it and that you got a discounted price. Again, with all these new mobile microphones coming out, this is coming on discount, so definitely look for deals and steals, especially as the holidays come around. This is going to probably get slashed a lot during Black Friday. The next one's on the Corsair Virtuoso XT. These ones are headphones that I still have, and I use them quite a bit for gaming, or if I need to take long calls. It's just a little bit more comfortable and get a nice mic. Again, sometimes I don't like being tied to the table with this guy, so I do end up using these. MattCat83, super mad at me, says that my review sucks. And I get it. He was looking at the short, and I was kind of harsh on them. What I will say is that I did respond to him, but the dongle is good for latency. However, as you saw in my samples, or maybe it's just my unit, but the Bluetooth sounded better in terms of some of the depth of sound, as well as it sounded better in terms of the depth of the mic. So also was better in terms of connectivity. So I got further on the Bluetooth than I did on the dongle, even though documentation says that the dongle should work better. It just might be my apartment. It's very brick laden. So that might be affecting it, but the Bluetooth is performing better in my apartment, and I can get through like floors with Bluetooth where I can't with the dongle. So different experiences, maybe different units, maybe mine's bunked, who knows? But that's just my experience. Check out the full review if you want to see those sound samples. I think they'll be beneficial for you guys to check out. Next one's from Strata. He was looking at the Diodora's video. This is something that I really was surprised on how nice the materials were. So this is like a $200 sneaker from Italy, and it's kind of like a predecessor to the Jordan 1. It's just a really nicely put together shoe, although it may not have the cushion that you want, so it's not something you have to check out. But I do think that they do deserve more love. Even for mine, I have them. Unfortunately, my feet kind of grew in COVID, so I do no longer fit in them. I probably need to re-up on a pair, but I just got a little bit wider feet, so I am looking to sell them right now. But I do need to do a lacing video. Someone else asked me how to straight lace a set of Diodoras, and I got to do that. So there'll be a short on that shortly. I'll put in the links in the bottom, or I'll put a card here if I get that out in time. The Devoom. So Snooze Tunes. I have not had to use this in a while. However, when I first used it, it was pretty good. Obviously, they've had some updates since I've interacted with this. I think it's been like over a year since I've reviewed this, but I've seen this on more and more streamers' desks over my YouTube watching. So it does seem that they've been having some success in the accessories market. So it sucks that the app doesn't work as well as it used to. I just can't speak on it. I no longer have it. I gave it as a gift a lot of my stuff I've given away as gifts, so, but this one was a gift to a coworker, and yeah, I can't test it to see if the app is any better, but I hope you have resolved your issues and they've pushed some sort of update. But since this is a relatively new comment, I think you're probably still having issues. I don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry. All right. So the next couple comments are around the XS30s, and these are open ear headset, true wireless, just super convenient and very, very comfortable for like all day use. So, you know, if you're on long calls, you do call center stuff, you do, you know, just basically any office job these days with remote work, you're going to be on calls all the time. These ones will last with the battery. They're great for situational awareness, especially if you're on site. I use them all the time just to make sure I was aware of who was around me. You know, no one was looking over my shoulder. I could hear people talking to me. It's just good inside the work environment because I still got my music and I could still hear things for calls, but I could still hear stuff coming at me, so I wasn't caught off guard. For Krista Kalma's comment of, is it worth it for work essentials? I definitely think that it's beneficial. Is it worth it? Is going to be dependent on how much you're willing to spend. So these are $150. And I think if you need something that's a little bit more comfortable and won't make your ears sweat and you won't get fatigue inside your ears, these are going to be great. And again, I talked about situational awareness and the microphone quality. These will rock all day and you won't need to charge them. The only thing that I'll say is that you still probably could use some headphones that are nice at like the $100 range. The microphones may not sound as nice, but you just might get more versatility out of it. So, you know, I wouldn't use these for the gym, but if you want to, you know, if you can only afford one set of headphones, I would recommend something a little bit more versatile. This is pretty much just a like work scenario guy. So, but if you're looking for something that will be your workhorse, it'll stay at your desk, you know, it'll only be work for work, and these are a solid option. Okay, so the next comment from Omkar is about an in-ear monitor that I reviewed. Comes in a lot of cool colors and it has a nice neutral sound. It's a really good introduction to in-ear monitors if you're, you know, mostly done true wireless or over your headphones and you're trying to get into the in-ear wired market, then this is a great introductory headset so you don't have to break the bank on it, but still get a good understanding of characteristics to look for. When comparing the EW200 with the Hexas from Truth Ear, I would say that the Truth Ears are going to be a little bit less neutral. They'll be a little bit brighter on the spectrum, and they seem to be more intimate. So they're going to be a little bit better for like precise listening. But if you're looking for open soundstage, like you mentioned in your comment, you're probably better off with the EW200s, just because I think it will be less offensive on the highs, as well as it will give you that soundstage you're looking for. Not the greatest. Like, I don't want you to think that you're going to get like super crazy open soundstage, but you will get more soundstage than you would from the Hexas. So that's something to keep in mind. But overall, I think the EW200s are a great option. So next comment is from Miss Skipper Kim, and she was talking about the free loop from Level 8. If you haven't seen my channel, I've done a bunch of Level 8 luggage, and if you're in the market for luggage, I think Level 8's a great option for you where you don't have to break the bank, but get all the premium features that you would want out of something like, I don't know, this crazy like Rimowas or whatever without spending that much money. But for this one, the free loop was an awesome plastic hard shell. The reason why I like this is because the colors were dope. It had like a ton of features and it fit a lot despite being very, very small and easy to carry around. So I think it's a great luggage for all of you to check out. It comes in a few different colors. For her, she was just basically helping the community out by saying that you can buy luggage tags if you want them, but the free loop comes with it. In addition, there might be some differences here, and maybe my model, because I got it earlier, is different, but the plastic pouch inside was attached, like sewn in. But it seems like for her, hers was separated, and if that's the case, I appreciate that, because I would rather have it zipped out or even just like a separate piece, so I didn't have to grab it from the bag or like grab all the pieces from the bag and take it out. I just like unzipping it and putting it where I would want to. Like, if it's really a toiletry bag, it would be really nice to just unzip it and put it in the bathroom when I'm traveling. But again, maybe they made an improvement. Just my unit doesn't have that. So just differences there. Let me know if you guys have a free loop and what your situation with that toiletry bag is. Okay, so for this next comment, it's from Mianessa 1515. It's in Spanish. I'm not fluent. However, I do know a little bit of Spanish, and from what I can tell from reading this, in the best I can interpret, is she likes what this headphone has to offer, and had like there's some functionality that she appreciated, and she wanted to understand if there was a market for this today and if it's still a worthy sort of form factor that people would be interested in. And from my thoughts on this, it's just, again, when it first came out, I was super excited. I wanted it because it's supposed to give me over-ear experiences from a smaller form factor. I don't have to deal with wires, all this other sort of stuff. However, ever since it released, the market had already outpaced it. Like all the AI stuff that it had, like every company has done it better. Form factor, every other company's done it better. The thing that we haven't really gotten is something that small that is over ear and true wireless. So I would say, because the human headphones are more of an on-ear and they clip, that's already kind of a bad thing. That's not going to be fun for long-term listening. When you see over ears, it's usually a bud, so it's not clipping hard. It's more just hooking so that it stays on your ear, but it's not clipping to the ear for security. These ones clip to your ear for security, and I don't think that a lot of people would appreciate that for the long-term listening perspective. However, if you could find a way to make a over-ear headphone that stays here without putting pressure on the ears, that would be amazing. Because I think while IEMs are great, they can't produce the soundstage and they won't be as comfortable in the long term as over ears. But a lot of people don't like wearing headbands for too long, or they don't want a really large headband apparatus with like the suspension system because it's harder to carry around. Also, as you can see, like with modern day streamers and stuff, people are getting indents on their head. Nobody wants that. So in-ear monitors are generally the better bet to go for that sort of listening and streaming and doing all that sort of stuff. But again, they don't have certain aspects that over ears offer. So if there's some way that you could engineer it so that the over ears could stay on here, I don't have a band, it's true wireless, still get the same performance or relatively, then I think you got something. But if you're trying to replicate what the human headphones are doing, I would say stop it right there, because it's just not it. It's just not it. But there's definitely potential, just in a different form factor. MD Naeem, I'm. You're what? Sorry, need a water break. Anyway, now we get into the Koss section where people are asking about Koss products. Porta Pros is the first one up. So Jesse Jones asked if they should buy a pair of these because they want some good headphones for the music that they're listening to. It's really going to be hard for me to say, but I'll do my best. For these, if you're new to sort of wired or just new to music and you don't know what you should be looking for from headphones, then the Porta Pros are a safe bet. Again, if you don't need a true wireless experience or wireless experience, you want to be plugging things into things, then the Porta Pros are cheap. They are easily portable because they can fold down. They have nice comfort options with the temple cushions as well as the adjustability. They're really glasses compliant, which is awesome. And they're relatively easy to drive. Phone, computer, whatever you might plug it into, you don't need any sort of amps or anything. Obviously, those help, but you won't need them. So in terms of if it will be good for your music, I'm really going to need to know what you listen to, but anything that requires like a heavier bass, it generally does pretty well. There are occasions where the bass can be too much and you lose some detail on the mids and lows, but overall, it's a very well-rounded, fun sound signature that a lot of people appreciate. And again, if you buy it on Amazon, you don't like it, return it. But I can recommend Porta Pros to anybody. And it's a really good way to introduce yourself to headphones and what you should be thinking about, as well as a lot of Koss products are like interchangeable with each other. So if you like a headband here, but you like the drivers here, you can kind of smack them on each other and they work. So, if you want to go down that sort of customization and mod life, you have that option once you get a pair of Porta Pros or anything in Koss, basically. So pick them up. And the next one, Samuel Barman's asking if the KSC-75s, Porta Pros, or KPH-40s has a better soundstage. And as Hijinks87 mentioned, they are all basically the same. If I'm not mistaken here, all three of those have the same driver. In fact, you can switch the drivers with the different headphones and get different, fit experiences. But in general, They are the same driver. They're going to sit in the same spot on your ear. So they won't have tremendously different sound stages. They will just have different fits based on which headband or clip you prefer the best. So there's not going to be really much difference there. On ear obviously has a fixed space, and it will interact better than something that's in ear because it does let some air in to give you more sound stage. However, it won't be contained like it would be on a over-ear headphone, because even with the open back ones, there's a little bit more control, there's a little bit more displacement, so you'll get better sound stage. So you'll get about the same. TLDR. And then we have the next set of comments, which are all from Hijinks87, which are a series of things around the KPH40. And I think they're just really passionate about this headphone, and I am too. I think that it's a great setup that Koss has introduced, and I do like the headband. It's really easy and really smooth to use. It's very lightweight on the head. It's super comfortable over the long term. The only thing I will say is that because of the wire on the KPH40s and the placement of the mic, it just got a little bit more in the way when I was doing workouts. So it was really good for like commuting or at work, but it wasn't as good for like working out because there's a big controller in the middle of your chest. So I did end up switching this out for the KSC75s because I do appreciate the sound signature of the KSC75s a little bit better. It's a little bit more neutral sounding, and it just works with my music a little better. And it's a thinner cable that has a mic that's closer up, so it's less intrusive when I'm running or doing workouts. So I just tend to use that because it works for a longer or larger range of use cases for myself. But in general, the KPH40s are great. A lot of the comments here were just ways to mod it and ways that I could, clip this thing to be a little bit more comfortable, so I didn't have to do that swap. But again, for me, just no accessories and anything like that. I would just rather swap out the drivers and then use the KSC75 drivers with the KPH40 headband to get my own little Frankenstein there. Just as another aside, because the next comment is also Hijinks87, is the use of Yaxi Pads are great for a lot of the on-ear headphones from Koss. They make them more comfortable. They seem to be a little bit more durable, and they don't affect the sound all that much. So generally, for all of the ones that I have, I've replaced them with the Yaxi Pads just for the comfort features. All right, so the next comment is around the Liberty 4 NCs from Soundcore. And I love these headphones because, one, the colors are dope. Two, the flippy case is really, really fidgety, and I like that. But battery life, ridiculous. Sound, super solid. App, amazing. NC, ridiculous. So, like, it's just a super full-featured set of headphones that fit really well, that will work for, like, most everybody. And I've been liking everything that Soundcore puts out. It's just so reliable, it's super solid, and it's very versatile around music. So they're not tuned in a way where I have to do a bunch of modifications, and if I do, it's really easy through their application. So definitely something that you could check out. The only thing that I would say that some people might have a gripe with is its price, but I think for what they give you, it's super fair priced. And in terms of the comment from 343 Just Me saying you must not use them at all if they last you for 5 days. Well, as I mentioned before, the battery is ridiculous. So 8 hours with ANC, 10 hours without. And that's per charge. And then you have 5 charges in the case. So I don't know how you get through 40 or 50 hours without going like your work week. Because if I think about it, that'd be like me going commute, gym, commute, work, commute, home. And that's like 10 hours. Like, that's my day. So then if I do that 5 times, that's like everything. Like, again, if I don't use ANC, I could get a little bit more maybe. But like, yeah, like 5 days a week, go to work. The math works out. I don't know what you're missing. But I'm not going to be listening to these for like 20 hours a day because I got to sleep. I got to eat. I got to watch TV. I'd love to know what your use case is that you're using like this for over 12 hours a day. Because then, yeah, it'll only last you like half a week. But for me, I'm using them like 6 to 8 hours a day. So I get 5 days out of it. But I will give you a pass because your avatar is 𝐿𝐷𝐿, and she's kind of a goddess. So the next comment is on the 𝐲𝐷𝐿 Tiny 4K. They've since come out with a upgraded version that's more metal-y and slightly better resolution and performance. But this question from Neil Mitra is around if it supports external microphones, and it doesn't natively inside it. However, if you plug it into your computer, you know, Teams, OBS, Skype, whatever you might use for video conferencing or video editing, the application will let you switch between different sources for your cameras and your microphones. So you don't need that to support it natively. The only time that I think you'd want to is you need to plug it into like a phone, which I don't think it's supported anyway. So like if you're trying to plug this into a computer, your application will be able to let you do sort of mixed and match sources. So look at your settings. So the last couple comments here are going to be around the garment bag from Half Day that I used maybe like a couple of years ago on a review for my trip to Spain for a wedding. And it performed amazingly well at carrying all the accessories, shoes, all the different suits that I needed and keeping them all relatively wrinkle-free. Very little maintenance needed to happen after I pulled them out. It's something that I would recommend to anyone who's kind of in that wedding era of life where all their friends are getting married and you got to be flying out and bringing a suit everywhere, or if you're, you know, doing regular business trips where you need to carry jackets and stuff and make it a little bit easier for you to get in and out of the hotel. I think this is great. You know, if you're looking for a garment bag that can double as a duffel, so you just carry less stuff and it's a little bit more seamless without the jingle jangle, this is perfect. The best thing I like about Half Day 2 is that they do take customer input very seriously, and you can see that in their newer bags. So like the bag that I did is outdated already because they've already implemented new pockets, better storage system, all that sort of stuff that sort of the initial customer set had been complaining about. So they've made improvements that now the bag's even better. I'm tempted to get another one just so that I can try, like experience all the new improvements. But anyway, let's get into this comment from Shantanu. Is it carry-on friendly? Absolutely. I can put that in the overheads, even like the really crappy first class ones that are like from Boston to New York, where it's like this big of an overhead compartment. Like I can shove that in there. As long as you don't have anything too wide and hard and rigid, you should be fine. Like shoes won't be a problem, but if you have like a laptop in there or like a bunch of electronics like cameras and stuff, I wouldn't recommend it for that because it just won't scrunch. But like as long as it's just clothes, you can even fit that underneath the seat if you needed to. So very carry-on friendly. You won't have any issues fitting this in most aircraft, and you know you won't have to worry about like battling people for that overhead space because you won't even take up that much space in there. So this is something I carry around a lot. And to wrap up with the last comment, we'll get one from Keith Holland, who says that he loves the bag that he has. He had the same zipper issue that I had in the full review, and that he wishes that there were a little bit more clips and straps to help keep things in place. Again, if you are using this, definitely let me know how this kind of pans out for you. I would love to know how this is holding up for your use cases. It worked remarkably well for mine, but I can see where you might have some issues here, but I do want to check something. One, if you have the old bag, like I do, what he was mentioning about the zippers is that this bag lays flat, garment bag with a couple flaps for your shoes. However, it's kind of hard to load until you give it some structure. So my favorite thing to do is putting the shoes or anything hard inside the sides and then zipping it up halfway on both sides so that there's a little bit of structure. Because otherwise, you just have this flat piece of cloth and it's really hard to load. But if you half zip it on both sides, you at least have this structure where there's a pocket there for you. So as long as you zip it up that much, you'll at least have some place to load out, and then very easy for you to operate from there. I do show that in the full review, so it's going to be a little bit easier to see on that one because I have better camera angles. But the one thing that I want to check with you, Keith, is one, if you have the old version, do you have these clips? Because there are clips on the very bottom that help you kind of snag in the bottoms of your jackets so that it can stay taut against the hanger and making sure that things don't jostle around too much. And then in the middle, there is this cinch point, which will also help keep your blazers and jackets flat so that they don't move around and that they're less likely to wrinkle and bunch up. So I just want to make sure, like, if you have the old version, are you using those two functions, and are those not sufficient? And secondly, I haven't got to see all of the improvements outside the pockets on the new one. If you have the new one, let me know what they've changed on the inside of the garment bag and tell me what they could improve. Because one, as I mentioned, Half Day is great about taking input and improving their next iterations. But for me, selfishly, I would love to know if I should buy one. Because, like, as I mentioned earlier, because they made improvements, I've been kind of tempted to get a new version. They also have different colors out there now. So, like, I could re-up. But if there's some stuff that's holding you back and you feel like it's not working out for you, I would love to know, so then I can save some money until they improve it. So yeah, Keith, hit me back. Let me know how you're liking the bag, which version you got, all that. But hopefully it's working out for you. So that's the end of the comments here for the miscellaneous items. Like I mentioned, there will be a part 2 dedicated to earbuds. Just because there are a lot more of those, I figured I'd separate them out, get a little bit more content out of them, and just make this a little bit more easy to digest. What I will say is that I am rusty. While this video may be a certain length, it is way longer with all the B-roll because I have not been speaking very eloquently or quick-witted. It's just, it's a little bit of a mess. I had to shoot this a few times. But hopefully you guys liked the response to your comments. Again, if you have any questions about anything that I've reviewed or just in general, put them in the comments. I can try to respond to them the best that I can. Coming up, there will be a part 2 that will be coming next week. And then I'll try to stay onto a weekly schedule until I run through all of the footage that I have. I'll do my best. Again, I'm still trying to recover slightly. But what I have on deck and what I have shot is the 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐒s, which are Crocs. Then there's the PS Portal, which I've had in the back here for a while, and I've been using it a lot recently, especially since I've gotten Baldur's Gate. It's been a blast, but that's coming up after that. I have a ton of shoes, so I have the amzn.to AJ3s, the amzn.to AJ4s, I have the Air Technical Challenge, Agassiz. I've also gotten some stuff from the real McCoys and Whitesville, so some men's fashion, high quality stuff from Japan, things from Wax London, and again, I still need to get back on streaming, so if you guys have ideas for content of what you want me to stream in terms of like listening parties for some of the headphones that I have around or that I get in the mail, or if you want me to stream my Baldur's Gate play, or if you want to just have general talk sessions about tech, if you want to, browse on YouTube together or whatever, let me know what you guys would be interested in terms of like more live interactions. But I am looking to kind of interact with you guys more, just because, I don't want to just be shoving stuff in your face without, giving you content or giving you a way to interact. So let me know which one you prefer, but those are the things that are sort of on the docket as of now. Right now, a lot of it is sort of like clothes and stuff like that outside the PS Portal, but again, if you have suggestions for things you'd like to see, I can kind of reshuffle things based on prior engagements and what I promised people. But yeah, we can make some negotiations here. But anyway, I appreciate you guys sticking with me, commenting, liking, and subscribing, doing all the things that you normally do on a video that you like and love. And as always, I appreciate you. See you very soon.